Hey everyone, you probably all expected me to now work on a playthrough of Evergreen Gardens, but I also want to do some of the expansion scenarios. There's some really fun ones that I really like, and I don't want to do all of them, so I think it will be fun to do a few of them in between my other playthroughs. But yeah, the playthrough that I want to focus on now is Funtopia, which is one of my all-time favorite scenarios. Yeah, I just have really fond memories of playing this as a kid. It's one of the earliest scenarios that I remember myself playing when I was visiting a friend. Yeah, I don't really know what it is, but something about this park is just very memorable to me. Anyway, yeah, I thought to myself, this highway over here, or this pair of roads, is a little bit lifeless. So I think it would look really cool if we had some cars driving on it. And of course we can definitely do that with the help of some trickery. And something else which I thought to myself is, what if this highway was actually elevated? So that's actually what I want to do in this park. The sides of the map are a little bit elevated, so that will definitely help us. I will simply move the ground level up here again a bit. And then I will make a nice elevated highway here in the middle. Now we will also get rid of this grapevine, and I will replace it with a version of my own that will actually travel under the highway. Well, for this part at least, the lift hill will still be over the highway. Yeah, and I will do this. I will redo these existing rides, and I will add a few of my own. Now I have a really fun theme in mind, which actually goes with the grapevine name. I actually want to make Funtopia into Fruitopia. So this park will actually grow some enormous grapes and probably some other types of fruits and vegetables. Yeah, not a typical theme for a theme park, but I think it will be really fun to work with. Anyway, the first thing that I want to work on in this park, because it will be such a defining element, is going to be the highway and the shape of the park itself. So yeah, I think I will get to work on that first. I will have to remove this coaster, and then I will make this pair of roads into an elevated highway. Okay, we now have a highway that's floating above the park. Now, of course, we'll want to have some structure to this. So for this, I wanted to make some pillars below the highway. Now, I could make all of these by hand, just like I did with the highway, but there's actually a useful plugin that we can use for this, which is the Scenery Manager. Basically, it allows you to copy and paste several tiles and just reuse them over and over in the park. And that's definitely going to save me a lot of time. So yeah, in order to demonstrate this, I will first place a section of support here for the highway. Then after that, I'm going to save that particular piece of scenery, and I will copy and paste it for the rest of the highway as well. Alright, you can see I constructed a pillar here now, holding up a part of the highway. So let's see, let's select this part. We don't want the surface element, we only want the track pieces, the scenery pieces, the walls and the paths. So let's see, so footpath additions, since we also want the lamps. not the surface pieces. I think we have everything. So let's see if we can select this area like this. And then I believe we copy. And then we save. I already made a folder for this. So we go in this folder and we add a new file and we call it highway pillar. Alright, and as you can see, I can now place this piece elsewhere in the park as well. Alright, well, I want these evenly spaced out throughout the park, so I'm just going to measure 10 tiles in between everywhere, and then I'm going to place these throughout the park. Alright, I clicked one time too many here, so I'll have to fix this manually. But other than that, yeah, this just saved me so much time. And I'm definitely glad I'm using this plugin now. So if you want to look for it, go to openrct2plugins.com and look for Scenery Manager. It's a great tool. Alright, now the highway is looking a lot nicer. Of course, it's still looking quite dead, and that's because there's not actually any traffic on it. So that's what I want to do next. Now, quite often I see parks that have lots of cars driving around without any people in it. For this park, I actually want to have people inside those cars. So I'm going to hide a station underground here, where guests can actually get into vehicles. And they will actually be teleported to this part of the map over here, and here the vehicles will magically appear on the road and they will drive to the other side. Over here they will be teleported to the other side of the road where they will drive back, and after that they will be teleported back to the station here where guests get off the vehicles again. So yeah, quite a lot of work, but I think it will look quite nice in the end, and I always prefer to have guests actually driving these vehicles. Alright, here we can now see the ride in action, and I put it in test mode. And if we look underground here, you can see some weird teleporting shenanigans happening here with the cars moving sideways to the station. But yeah, a lot of this track underground consists of mini golf holes, and if you make mini golf holes and then change your ride into a different ride type, it will basically make all your vehicles teleport through those pieces. So that's how you can get some teleporting to happen. Oh yeah, I put a lot of vehicles on the track. Right now it's still in test mode, but later I will open it and I will make it so that the vehicles can only leave if there's actually guests in them. Now I'm just going to play a bit with the minimum wait time to see if we can get a nice traffic flow on it. And I'll also use the ride vehicle editor to make it so that there will be different kinds of vehicles on the road. We'll probably also want to have some pickup trucks and maybe some other vehicle types as well. And I also want to recolor all these vehicles. So yeah, that's going to be quite a task. I now have 50 vehicles on this ride. So yeah, that's going to be a bit of a chore. Anyway, yeah, I'm quite happy with how this looks. Probably want a few more vehicles on the road, so I'll change the minimum wait time a bit. And probably also later this will work better as we get more guests in the park, since more guests will actually be able to ride this ride. Alright, we can now see the first guests traveling around on the highway. Now, there's a bit of a traffic jam here at the end. This ride now, of course, does depend on guests who actually enter the ride. So maybe I should have some underground track where the cars can actually bunch up before entering the station again. Since this is all a teleporting section, yeah, the cars don't really move forward here. So then maybe something I need to fix. Alright, so far everything seems to be going alright. I do see some vehicles clipping through each other here, so I just hope it keeps going well. But yeah, I guess we'll find out. Anyway, now that we have the traffic in this park sorted and the highway, it's time to actually start working on some rides in the park. So I'm really excited for this part, and yeah, I think the first ride we should tackle in this park is of course the coaster Grapevine, which will get a new layout from me. Alright, here's the new version of Grapevine. The original one had 6 inversions, this one has 7. As you can see, it has some interaction now with the highway. It goes under the highway and in this section, and over here it does a cobra roll wrapping around the highway. Now this would probably be very dangerous and lead to many distractions, but this is RCT2, so things like these are possible in this universe. Yeah, over here in the middle you can see the track is mostly quite high off the ground, and more to the sides it's lower down. Here in the middle I kind of want to have sort of like a plaza which will connect to the queue line for this coaster. Now, since the name of this coaster is Grapevine, I kind of want to bring grapes in here as a theme. So I'll try to make this area here look like a vineyard. I think it will be cool to have it look like there's grapes growing here. And for the queue, I think it will also be fun to yeah, have guests walk through a vineyard here while they're waiting to board the coaster. But yeah, quite a lot of decorating to do here, so I think I'll just get started with it. Alright, I've now made the station for a Grapevine, and as you can see I've also added a field of grapes here, lots of greenery, and the queue also winds through it. Now it is a little bit glitchy in some places, but yeah, that's to be expected when you have so many objects here in the same space. I tried to mitigate the glitchiness as far as I could, but yeah, it looks like some of it is just unavoidable. Now, yeah, I quite like how this turned out. I think it's a really fun theme to have all these balloons here that actually act as big grapes that are growing here. I think it looks quite fun. But with this done, I think it's time to move on to the next area of the park. Now, yeah, something which I should still do is clear up these tunnels. But that could be something I do later. Because first I want to focus here on the entrance of the park. Alright, here we now have the entrance of the park. I kept it quite simple, so you can see a little castle style building here. I tried to bring out the theme a bit, so you can see some overgrown buildings here. And I also put some more of these grapes here on top of this tower. And of course there's the sign, welcome to Fruitopia. And yeah, around the park I also made my own fence. Probably the most simple fence that you've seen me make in any of these parks so far. But yeah, it's simply a castle wall with some of these conifer hedges in front. And I just did this throughout the park. Yeah, I think it fits the theme of the park quite well. Alright, now there's a few more rides that I want to replace in this park. One of them is the Ferris wheel, and one of them is the boomerang. I think the next ride I'm going to work on is this Ferris wheel. This Ferris wheel is very small. I want to have a big Ferris wheel right next to the highway here. Yeah, to distract the guests a bit more, I guess. Okay, here you can see the finished product. It's the Ferris wheel. Now in the park it was still called Ferris wheel 1 when you open it. Now it's called the Fruitopia wheel. The colors are actually still the same as the original Ferris wheel. So there's the the purple spokes, and then the white rim around it, which is now made up of these river rafts. And now of course the base is also still white. So I made a nice queue here, also with some covers, some decorations around it. Yeah, I'm really happy with the way this looks, and I also love its location here, right next to the highway. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. Now if you want to know how this works, it's a shoestring ride, it's quite complicated. Actually, at one point I had it accidentally merged with the highway track, so the Ferris wheel vehicles ended up riding on the highway. So that was a bit of a goof, but yeah, in the end the result I think is pretty good. I'm really happy with this. Alright, the next ride I want to work on is this boomerang. Now first off, I think the layout of this boomerang is a bit silly, since it's these tracks, let's say the beginning chain lift and the track here on the end, they diverge from each other rather than converge in the middle. So that's already a bit strange choice. But yeah, I don't want to just rebuild the boomerang. I want to do something fun with it. So actually I thought of changing it into one of these, let's see if I can find it. Well, I think it's no longer actually its own ride type, but it's one of these compact inverted shuttle coasters. So yeah, there's actually a few existing ones of these, a few real ones, and they actually have the same layout as the boomerang. The vehicles have something special, which is that half of the riders face forward and half of the riders face backwards. But yeah, I'm going to replace this boomerang with an inverted model. I'm going to change the location a bit, and yeah, I also want to give it its own theme. Now it's called Defibrillator, so I thought to myself, how can I change the name to something which has a pun with fruit? So its new name will be Defibrillator. I know, it's a really lame pun, and that's why I love it. Anyway, I think it's time to get to work on this coaster. Alright, I've now built this roller coaster here. It's the Invertigo model of Vekoma. I call it Defibrillator. Horrible pun. I also gave the coaster some custom supports in the form of this tower holding up these track pieces. And this is also something that you will see on the real models. Maybe I'll add some more supports in between here later for this part. But I really like the way this looks with the tower here. Okay, next to the coaster I added some fields with lots of plants and these gardens representing berries. So yeah, that will just hopefully make it fit into the theme a little bit more. Also put this barn next to the coaster, Yeah, this is probably a barn used by the farmers or the people farming these berries. Now I extended these fields a bit here to the back, just to fill up this area over here a bit more. Yeah, like I said, I'm really happy with this already. Now, there's still quite a bit of area left. I want to add several rides here. I think a go-kart track would be cool. We could probably fit it over here. Yeah, going around in this area and probably also under the highway for a bit. And over here we can probably still fit a water ride. Now, before I add another ride, well, I see the guests complaining a lot that that they cannot get any food in the park, and yeah, they probably also have to go to the toilet. So I should probably make some plazas for the guests where they can actually buy some food and some drinks. So probably over here next to the Ferris wheel is a good spot, and we'd probably need one over here on this side of the park as well. And we could probably make some fruit shops in the park. Alright, I've now added some places where the guests can buy food and drinks, and they can also go to the toilet here. These buildings actually look quite a lot like each other, especially in their shape. But yeah, it's just a simple and effective design. Added some decorations here on the side. I think it makes the building look quite nice. So yeah, just some fruity ices, fruity drinks, stuff like that is now for sale in the park. And that should actually get the guests to stay a bit longer, so we should see some more guests stick around in the park. And that should also lead to these queues maybe filling up a bit. All these rides in the park actually have a lot of capacity, so yeah, we probably won't see the queues fill up that much. Anyway, yeah, all the original rides have now been replaced. So now it's time I add some rides of my own. Now, I already said I am thinking of adding a go-kart track over here. I will try to build it pretty quickly. A ride which I haven't really made in any of my parks for this series yet is a river rapids ride. Now, these usually take me quite long to construct, but I'll see how long it will take me this time. We have quite a big area available here for the river rapids ride, and the way I build them, they always take up quite a lot of space. I think it will be really fun to build a river rapids ride here, but I'll start with the go-kart track that I want to fit in this area of the park. Alright, here's the completed go-kart track. I call it Carotene karts. And yeah, I tried to theme it after a carrot field. So you can see lots of giant carrots growing here next to the track. Also made a few here in the front out of these mushrooms combined with a carrot behind it for the greenery. I also put some barrels next to the track, some plants. I also made an arch here of bushes. Yeah, the arch is maybe a little bit too much the same as the rest of the greenery, so it does tend to blend in a little bit. So maybe I'll replace it with some other plants. But yeah, I think it looks pretty cool as it is right now. So yeah, I want to move on to the next part of the park, which is the river rapids ride that I want to place here in this corner of the park. Now I am going to make this ride pretty big, because the way I make these rides, they usually end up being pretty big anyway. So we'll probably end up using all this space here. But in the end, I think it will be a fitting last attraction for this park. Something else which I should definitely focus on is making these tunnel entrances look a little bit nicer, because I've been neglecting them yeah, as of now. Alright, that's the river rapids of the park done. Now, if you're wondering what all these things are, they're of course cucumbers. The track is also called the Cucumber River. So yeah, basically this is a place where cucumbers are harvested from these trees, because as we all know, trees grow giant cucumbers. They're all stacked up here till eventually they're boiled in these whatever they are. And maybe in the end they end up in this silo or something. I'm not really sure how this factory works, but it works, I can assure you of that. Anyway, yeah, that's all the attractions of the park placed. Now, I do want to do some more detailing in the park. I'll do that off camera, since I'll be going all throughout the park, and in a time lapse that probably would not be very viewer friendly. So yeah, just going to do that quickly, and then I'll come back to the video. Alright, I'm back. Did some detailing here and there, mostly around this area. So as you can see, I've added a little cucumber shop and stall here. It's actually a tentacle shop, but I renamed it Fried Cucumbers. And what's funny is that guests who buy something from here actually look like they're holding and eating a cucumber. Because that's what these tentacles kind of look like. Oh, so put some more of these giant cucumbers stacked up here. And other than that, I mostly just placed lots of foliage around the map. I just tried to make all the areas where I hadn't built anything yeah, more interesting. So mostly just fill it up with fruit trees. You can see them over here and here next to the side, just to have something everywhere in the map. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it looks. Something which I should do is to add all my patrons in the park as staff members. So yeah, that's what I will do next. We have quite a few handymen already. We already also have some entertainers for ticket checks, and I also put some in the queues, which actually are quite long in some places. So yeah, just going to quickly rename all these staff members after my patrons. And once again, thanks a lot for the support. Alright, all my patrons have now been added in the park as staff members. Quite a lot of entertainers this time. And these entertainers here, yeah, they're definitely swimming and not drowning. So don't get the wrong idea. It says here that they are drowning, but that's a glitch on your monitor. Anyway, yeah, with that the park is now complete. I think it will be nice to take a quick tour through the park just to check everything that's built so far, and after that we can take a ride on the roller coasters. So yeah, I started off by redoing Grapevine in the park. I kept the original color scheme except for the trains, and I gave it a layout that's a bit more easy to follow. And yeah, I really like this layout. Also added an extra inversion. So yeah, first it does this swooping drop down into this large loop right next to the highway. Then it travels under the highway. By the way, the highway, I also made it an elevated highway. It used to start completely at ground level. I really like it better this way. And yeah, after the loop goes through the zero-G roll. I hope to see the zero-G rolls for B&M coasters into the game soon. I know some people are working on yeah, lighting for these new track elements, so that's definitely very exciting. Now after that goes down into this Immelman, or maybe it's a dive loop. I forgot which one is which. Yeah, it's definitely a dive loop. Then after that it travels under the highway again. Then it does this tight cobra roll around the highway. Probably very distracting for the drivers and something that would never be approved in real life. And then finally it travels over this plaza again into the final element of the coaster, which is a Batwing. So yeah, really happy with how this one turned out. And also yeah, made these grape fields under the coaster using these balloon stalls. Yeah, I believe I saw Manticore use this trick once in an entry where he wanted to make some grapes or berries. So I decided to recreate this on a bit of a larger scale. And yeah, I think this looks pretty cool, although it is sometimes a little bit glitchy. Now I also made this, I redid the original boomerang that was in the park. It was called Defibrillator, now it's called Defibrillator. I made it into an inverted version of the boomerang. And yeah, I made it berry themed, so you can see these berry fields around it, all these berry bushes. With some of these pink flowers, which are supposed to look like berries. So the little barn next to it, some custom supports. I think it looks pretty cool in the end. Now we also have this go-karts here in the corner. This is themed after carrots, so it's called Carotene karts. You can see all these carrots right next to the track. Yeah, gave it orange barriers, lots of plants on the side. So yeah, quite happy with how it turned out as well. Also made a bit of a station with these ornamental pieces from the Six Flags set. And I like how they combine together. Now of course there's also traffic on the roads here. It's actually a ride for which the station is hidden underground here. So guests actually have to get in the cars before they leave the station. Yeah, I always think it looks a bit dumb if there's empty cars driving around. So this is the way I like to do it. Now, of course, there's also the Ferris wheel. The original park had a small Ferris wheel in this location. I did some magic here to make this larger Ferris wheel using these river rafts. And yeah, I think this is a much more. I think this is a much better scale, and I really like how this sits right next to the highway. Now, and the final ride that they added to the park is this River Rapids ride. It's themed after cucumbers, so you can see all these stacks of giant cucumbers next to the track. And these cucumber trees, of course. Some of them have cucumbers growing in them. Because, of course, we all know that's where cucumbers come from. This chimney design, I stole it from someone who used something like this in the last contest. I forgot who it was. Grimnork, maybe? But yeah, I really like that particular design for the chimneys, so I copied it. And I made a little factory building here. Yeah, finally just added lots of foliage everywhere in parts that were a little bit empty. And yeah, oh yeah, I haven't shown the entrance yet. But yeah, here you can see the entrance of the park. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out in the end. Yeah, definitely my favorite of this series so far. Now, I hope you also enjoyed it. I think we can close this video by taking a ride on this roller coaster, maybe also on this one. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching me build. If you liked it, please hit that like button. It would really help out my channel, and it's a simple and easy way to show your appreciation for this series. Yeah, just really hope you enjoyed this channel. And I'll see you again in the next one. See you later.